expect only 30,000. 3-9-1 KC Chiefs, 6-6-1 New York Jets. That's the focus of attention all week long here in Kansas City. The status of Chiefs running back Paul Palmer, who was suspended last week after allegedly saying to teammates he might drop a few balls. That in the game last week against Pittsburgh to ensure that the Kansas City Chiefs coaching staff would be fired. Well, Palmer has been reinstated. We'll see action. He's dropping back as one of the deep men along with Kenny Gamble for the kickoff. The Chiefs winning the toss. They will receive, and Pat Leahy getting set to kick it off. In their earlier meeting, they played that 17-17 tie at Giant Stadium. And the return by Palmer. And he fumbles. And is that ironic? Nu'ufaola on the tackle of Angelo Snipes, who was able to play it out of the air.
Well, the ball is hit with a helmet by Fa'aola, and the ball goes right into Snipes' hand. And you talk about this, all the controversy a week ago. The young man was sent home from Pittsburgh because he said he might leave it on the carpet. First time he touches the ball, he fumbles it.
Well, if he were put in a courtroom, it would be strictly circumstantial evidence, but he did cough it up. And here is Christian Okoye, ripping 11 yards off on the very first play. Alex Gordon with the stop. Steve DeBerg, who has won the starting quarterback job, has Herman Hurd and Christian Okoye at the running backs. Good receivers, Carlos Carson, Stephon Page, and the tight end is Jonathan Hayes. Balt, Baldinger, Fury, Addix, and Eatman up front. This is Hurd. And Hurd gets to the 35. Alex Gordon on the stop. Herman Hurd, who had a good one last week against the Steelers. Fraze, Mercereau, and Lyons up front for the Jets. We'll see quite a bit of Tom Baldwin and Gerald Nichols. The linebackers, Gordon, Benson, Clifton, and MacArthur. And the secondary featuring two outstanding rookies, Eric McMillan and James Hasty. McMillan played his college football at the University of Missouri. Second down and 6 off the draw. Okoye has the first down. So Kansas City off to the good start. Troy Benson making the tackle.
They caught the Jets, and it's a great play against a blitzing team. You see the blitz coming right up the middle. Okoye just gets the ball and moves downfield. Clifton is the linebacker that was blitzing it, missed him.
8 yards for Christian Okoye in a second season out of Azusa Pacific. Hurd making it look very easy. Running out of bounds for another Kansas City first down. Herman Hurd with 11 on the carry.
Got two great blocks, one by number 77, Rich Baldinger, and the other one by Christian Okoye. Okoye, 35, is going to hook back to the inside. Right here he makes the play on Benson. Baldinger kicks out Hasty, and the hole is open, first down.
And it's a first down in Jet territory at the 46-yard line. Last week, the Chiefs lost at Pittsburgh 16-10. They had a last-minute shot, but could not score. They had won their previous two, surprising Cincinnati and Seattle, both here at Arrowhead. Off the play action, DeBerg with the time, goes sideline and completes for the short game. The tight end, Jonathan Hayes, taken out by Robin Cole, picked up only 4, and it sets a second down and 6.
When they look at the film of this play here, DeBerg, he didn't have much time, but straight down the middle of the field is Taylor. Kittrick Taylor, number 82, was wide open, but he throws back out to the outside to the big tight end. Only picked up 3, could have had a touchdown.
And they're calling it a second and 7. The ball at the Jet 43. We're just underway in Kansas City. The handoff to Okoye. And again, a short pickup. Kyle Clifton on the stop. The Jets coming off the shootout victory last Sunday over Miami, 38-34. They came back from a 10-point deficit. And incredibly, the Jets set an NFL record with 39 first downs against the Dolphins.
They just try to run another draw play that time, and Herman Hurd couldn't get the block, and Clifton is the man that really made the stop on the play. Okoye, and we'll explain it to you later.
I know you'll have the full explanation. 3rd down and 4 out of the shotgun. And Bird looking long for Carlos Carson. He has it. Touchdown. A 40-yard touchdown pass play. Carson beating the extra defensive back, John Booty.
Steve DeBerg, when he goes back, he's looking down the middle of the field. Then he sees the one-on-one coverage. Carlos Carson on Booty. And look at Carson has about a 3-yard advantage on him. The ball's right over his shoulder. It is a difficult catch, but he makes it. Booty was beaten cleanly. And this is where the experienced quarterback finds the one-on-one coverage in that nickel package. Touchdown.
So Carlos Carson, who has made it back following a rib injury, missed the last couple of games, catching his 3rd touchdown of the season. And here is Nick Lowry making it 18 for 18 on the season. So a good-looking drive by the Chiefs. 7 plays, they go 80 yards, capped off by the 40-yard bomb.
All right, now I'll tell you about Okoye. I used to do the Kansas City Chiefs preseason games when he first came in, and he went an entire year, and it was Christian Okoye, and everybody accepted it. And the players finally went to the PR guy, Gary Heisey, one day, and he said, you know, his name is Okoye. So he went to Christian Okoye, and he said, Christian, I thought your name was Okoye. He said, no, I didn't want to disturb anybody. He said, we're having tough problems, so you should go with the name he gave me.
It makes sense to me, Paul.
Yeah, it really did. Here's Carlos Carson, that catch again. It's just a perfect pass by DeBerg. And again, picking the one-on-one coverage in a nickel package. And when you do that, you better stay with him.
So Okoye didn't pick it up by himself, as Tony Dorsett did in his case. And there have been other guys who several years after they have become public figures have suddenly decided, hey, you're mispronouncing my name.
Yeah, they just don't want to disturb anybody for a while, and then all of a sudden they just say, there he is, there's Christian Okoye.
He is a native of Nigeria, the top rusher among NFL rookies last season. He's only played 4 years of organized football. Went to college as a track man. He was the African record holder and champion in the discus throw. A terrific all-around athlete and instrumental on this touchdown drive by the Chiefs.
And when he first came in, he really had a problem holding on to the football. He fumbled quite a bit, and he corrected that.
JoJo Townsell, Bobby Humphrey are back as Nick Lowry gets set to kick it off. 3 minutes gone by in this first quarter. The Chiefs 7 and the Jets nothing. Short kickoff, and here comes Humphrey. Got a good block. And then hit out across the 25. He returned it 21 yards. Bumped out by backup running back James Saxon. And the Jets with Pat Ryan now in the starting role at quarterback. He took over for Ken O'Brien 3 games back. He has provided a lift. In fact, as you look back against the Kansas City Chiefs, he is 3-0 lifetime against the Chiefs, including that wild card victory in the playoffs back in '86. The offensive alignment: Criswell, Haight, Sweeney, Alexander, and McElroy. Haight replacing the injured Ted Banker, who has that sprained foot once again. First down at the 26. They line up in the I. Walker in motion. Second back coming through. Freeman McNeil to the 30-yard line. Advance of 4. It'll be a second down and 6. The outside linebacker, Angelo Snipes, on the stop. Familiar name at nose tackle, Jerome Salley, one-time Giant, who was signed this past Wednesday. And it is into the starting lineup as the Chiefs have been hard hit by injury at the nose. Snipes, Pearson, Del Rio, and Cofield are the linebackers. And in the secondary, J.C. Pearson for the injured Albert Lewis, although Lewis will be available despite a sprained ankle. Billy Griggs in as the extra tight end. In fact, he is in motion. Play action. And Ryan throws the middle. He has Schuler for a first down. Mickey Schuler, who had a tremendous game back in October against the Chiefs with 12 catches last week, 2 touchdowns against Miami. And he picked up 9 on the play.
And don't be surprised all day long to see the quarterback standing back there with a lot of time. And I'm talking about both quarterbacks. When you talk about DeBerg, as far as Kansas City is concerned, and Pat Ryan on the other side, because neither one of these teams have been getting to the quarterback very much. That time Bell was close, but not close enough. Schuler ends up getting the first down.
Jets from their 41. Johnny Hector has come on. Again, it's 81 Griggs in motion. Hector finding the hole and then closed. Very short pickup, the inside linebacker Aaron Pearson on the stop. And a look at the 10-minute ticker. New England knocking off Seattle. The Giants with Phil Simms making his return, winning big over the Phoenix Cardinals, avenging that earlier season defeat. Philadelphia leading Washington in the fourth quarter. Cincinnati big over San Diego. Cleveland leads Dallas, and look at that Buffalo Tampa Bay score. Buffalo coming off the loss in Cincinnati last week.
And another one today against Tampa Bay. They're losing some players.
Second down and 8. Roger Vick making certain to protect that football. He has fumbled 3 times the last 3 games. Cofield, number 54, on the stop of Vick, short of the first down.
There's Jerome Sally nose tackle over Sweeney. Now he moves back to the inside. A nice play by Sally. He's picked up by the back coming in the block. Doesn't get on the play, but he forced the runner to go back into the defense. It's tough duty coming in there 3 days ago, and all of a sudden you're starting. And his backup got here the same time he did, Don Thorpe.
5 nose tackles have started this season for Kansas City. Third down and 2. Hector has the first down. Angelo Snipes, outside linebacker, making the stop. Kansas City with a 7-0 lead. A 40-yard touchdown pass from DeBerg to Carson. Freeman McNeil checking back in. The Jets are one of 6 teams in the AFC still legitimately battling for the 2 wild card spots, but Joe Walton feels that the Jets must win their final 3. So it is a long shot. They close the schedule next Saturday at home against Indianapolis. Finish with the Giants. First down at the 48. And Ryan unleashes. It is broken up. Hard hit by J.C. Pearson to jar it free from Wesley Walker.
Broken up by J.C. Pearson. Replay on the scoreboard. 2nd and 10.
We'd like to welcome those of you who have been watching Buffalo and Tampa Bay. Marv Albert with Paul Maguire. Tampa Bay surprising Buffalo 10-5. One of the more unusual scores that we will see. But here, Kansas City has a 7-0 lead on the Jets off the touchdown pass to Carlos Carson. Their early first quarter. Hector fumbles and recovered by Duron Cherry. So Cherry, who has had an all-pro type season, has come up with his 5th recovered fumble along with 7 interceptions, and the Jets have turned it over.
Duron Cherry almost makes a mistake here. When the ball is fumbled and a veteran all-pro defensive back, instead of picking up, you try to fall on the ball, but he was lucky enough to get it back. This man is the leading defensive man on this team.
Timeout has been taken. It's Kansas City 7, the Jets nothing.
Just tells you that the defensive line and the linebackers are really not doing their job.
Chiefs going to the reverse for Kittrick Taylor, but does not work. Alex Gordon right there. And Kansas City barely getting back to the line. Picked up maybe a yard on the play. Kittrick Taylor, first-year player from Washington State.
Kittrick Taylor goes in motion to his left, and then he comes back around. It's almost, for him, it's almost like a double reverse, but it's only a reverse to him. He goes in motion to his left, and then he comes back around. Herman Hurd hands him the ball. The Jets read it very well. No problem at all with it.
Second down play, Kansas City at the Jet 47. Carson in motion. Here's Hurd off the stutter step. Nice moves by Herman Hurd, but he is stopped short of the first down. The free safety, Eric McMillan, making the stop. We'll have to see where they mark it. It is close to the first down marker.
The Jets that time played it perfectly at the point of contact where the play was designed to go. Herman Hurd comes right back the other way, and the guy that really puts a hit on him is Bobby Humphrey. Now, you look right there, everything is blocked off. The pursuit, they over-pursue. Now, Hurd comes down, and watch Humphrey comes in right here, number 48, and bounces him back, saves the first down.
It is a 3rd down and 1. The Jets with 6 defensive backs. Zordich and Booty now have checked in. Tight end Hayes in motion. Saxon. And the ball may have been jarred loose. Kansas City able to cover up. James Saxon, 6th round draft pick rookie from San Jose State, trying to drive for the first down. It appears he fell short. The crowd now urging Frank Gans and his Chiefs to go for it.
Well, when you're 3-9-1, why not? It really doesn't make any sense to go ahead and kick the ball in this position. You got a 7-point lead. There's Frank Gans there.
Man under fire. He was a popular choice to take over. A host of players had pushed for him off his success with the special teams and his popularity, but it's been a disappointing 2 years. He took over a club that went 10-6 and made the playoffs for John Malkovich. Last year, the Chiefs 4-11, and this season at 3-9-1. 4th down play, 4th and a yard. DeBerg has it.
This is a dangerous play for the quarterback because DeBerg gets it. It's the movement of the ball, and when DeBerg goes over the top, with 2 hands, though, he sticks the ball out. That's what gets the first down. Look at this ball come out. Defensive backs are coming up to try, and the linebackers are coming up to try to knock the ball away. It's very dangerous.
Kansas City first down at the Jet 38, 5:45 remaining. First quarter, Marv Albert, Paul Maguire from Arrowhead in Kansas City. Chiefs 7, and the Jets nothing. And it's Okoye. Kyle Clifton, the inside linebacker, making the stop. There's Clifton. Quietly returned to form, leads the Jets in tackles with 126.
Now you see Clifton, he's just standing there waiting for Christian Okoye to make a move, and he does it very well. He plays off the defense, keeps Okoye from cutting back, sits into the hole, played it very well.
2nd down and 8. Kansas City at the Jet 36-yard line. Page to the left, Carson to the right. In a long count as Hurd goes to motion. And flag thrown. And the crowd reacting. The Chiefs got a pretty good going over during the introductions. Too much time. Call by Fred Wyatt. Swing around the scoreboard, New England. Doing it to Seattle, and good return to form by Jason Starofsky, who had his problems last week. Cincinnati over San Diego, Cleveland in the 4th, leading Dallas, Tampa Bay over Buffalo 10-5. San Francisco with a 13-3 victory over Atlanta. Falcons have been going well. Indianapolis eliminating Miami from playoff contention, making it official. Detroit leads Green Bay. Raiders with the early lead, Minnesota. In the later games also getting out in front. It's a 2nd down and 13 off the delay of game. And DeBerg with the time going deep for Page. Wide open, touchdown! Stephon Page leaving the right corner. James Hasty well behind him.
Marvin, you put it so well. I mean, he just lost Hasty. He turned Hasty totally around. Stephon Page was wide open. DeBerg, no play action at all. He's got great protection, no pressure on him at all, and you can just see that Hasty, number 40, not even close to Stephon Page. He waited for the ball, could have fair caught it if he wanted to. You don't even see him in the picture here. Touchdown.
It is a 41-yard touchdown pass. Stephon Page with his 6th TD of the season. 6 plays, 49 yards as they line up for the extra point.
one other thing in defense of Hasty anyway.
Number 98, 5-yard
He
penalty.
did get beat by Stephon Page, but when a quarterback can sit back there, Marvin, have that much time to look over the entire field, you put an awful lot of pressure on a defensive secondary.
False start called on Leonard Griffin, so they move it back. Longer kick for the extra point now for Lowry, this from 20 yards away. Backup quarterback Bill Kenny will put it down. 4 minutes, 3 seconds left in this first quarter. And Lowry drills it through. The Chiefs off to the fast start. 14-0 over the Jets. This kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. That's JoJo Townsell back along with Bobby Humphrey, awaiting the kickoff from the 9-year man from Dartmouth, Nick Lowry. Chiefs with a 14-0 lead. And here's Humphrey on the return. Out across the 20, 30, putting the speed on and bumped out of bounds. James Saxon again involved. 28-yard return, 3:52 remaining. First quarter. The Jets trail the Chiefs by the score of 14-0. We'll be back after these messages. A sore shoulder, information that he kept to himself, and now Pat Ryan has taken over as the starting quarterback. First down from the 33 for Ryan and the Jets.
I think the Jets have an ideal quarterback situation. We'll talk about it.
And Ryan stepping up and incomplete and almost intercepted on the deflection. Lloyd Burris had a shot at it. It was off the hand of Wesley Walker.
And again, now Ryan had enough time to throw the ball. We were talking, here it is right here. You see there's just absolutely no one around him, and Wesley Walker's coming across. The ball is high. Burris only gets one hand on it. But we're talking about the ideal situation. You have two excellent quarterbacks with the Jets. You know, and they're both good friends, and they both cheer each other on.
However, the record is 6-6-1. Of course, not only the quarterback involved.
You had to get the however in there, didn't you?
It's putting it into perspective. Now Ryan with a sideline pattern, completing to Mickey Schuler, run out by the outside linebacker Tim Cofield. It is short of a first down. Mickey Schuler, despite the fact he has played hurt throughout the season, is having another outstanding year.
And he demands this respect. You see Cofield, number 54 there, but you're also going to see Ross coming into the picture. He demands that kind of respect. A linebacker and a safety covering him.
Second catch of the afternoon for Schuler. He now has 60 for the season. That is number 4 in the AFC going into today. Kevin Ross, the right corner, setting up the secondary as Ryan looks at a third down and 4. 3:40 left in this first quarter. Here's Walker, 85, coming across. And it is McNeil has the first down. Freeman McNeil running well. Picked up 8, stopped by the strong safety, Lloyd Burris.
You're going to be doing this quite a bit today, Marv, talking about safeties making tackles, corners making tackles, because the defensive line and linebackers are having a lot of problems. This play, they put Walker in motion one way, and then they bring Freeman McNeil back the other way, and the man downfield, you get a linebacker helping out on the tackle, but Burris is the guy that really is in there.
Freeman McNeil has certainly enjoyed playing against the Kansas City Chiefs. Over the years, he's had a number of big ball games. First down at the 47, Hector getting the call. The nose tackle, Jerome Sally, on the stop of Johnny Hector. There's Sally, 7th season from Missouri. These are all final scores from the early games. New England over Seattle, the Giants winning big with Phil Simms making his return, and Washington knocking off Philadelphia 20-19.
That helps the Giants.
Cincinnati with the win, Cleveland nipping Dallas, and Tampa Bay in the most unusual score of the day, 10-5 over Buffalo. San Francisco with the victory, Indianapolis knocking out Miami, and Detroit over Green Bay. All final scores. Second down and 4, and McNeil to the outside, running well once again, stiff arming his way for another first down. J.C. Pearson able to get him down.
Tremendous run by Freeman McNeil, and he did that mostly on his own.
Later games, Raiders 7-0 over Denver, and Minnesota leading New Orleans 7-0. Vikings looking awfully tough.
We had them a couple of weeks ago, Marvin, and they were playing without their best defensive player, Millard, the defensive line, and shut down Eric Dickerson. And then we also saw what they did in Detroit on Thanksgiving Day.
There was a sign detrimental to the Kansas City front office, and the crowd reacting as Ryan has a wide open Schuler down to the 15, down to the 10, a gorgeous move, and he is in for the touchdown. He put the deke on Lloyd Burris, and it's a 42-yard touchdown pass play. So the Jets now trail 14-6.
But what a great move by Ryan. Take a look. They had Deron Cherry blitzing the safety, and when they did that, all Ryan did was step up, fake. Deron Cherry was held, hit Schuler, and here he goes in, beats Burroughs for the touchdown. Just a tremendous play by the Jets. And Ryan just stayed in that pocket, not worrying about the rush of the safety. Schuler pointed, and Burroughs was thinking, wait a minute, somebody's coming over the block for him? Because he can't be this wide open. There has to be somebody else down there.
Mickey Schuler's 4th touchdown of the season, and Pat Leahy adds the extra point. A minute and a half remaining in this first quarter. Jets now trailing Kansas City 14-7. Back at Arrowhead a moment ago, the security man took this sign away. Here's what it said. Jim Schaaf, the general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs, who has been on the spot along with head coach Frank Gans. Here's Paul Palmer, who in his first kickoff return fumbled, although it was recovered. He fumbled again, and this time the Jets recovered. I don't believe this. Palmer is the second-year player out of Temple who kiddingly said on the team bus going to the matchup with Pittsburgh last week that he thought he might fumble a couple because that might help ensure that the coaching staff would not return next season, and the coaching staff, not showing a wonderful sense of humor about that statement, suspended Palmer. Sat out the entire ball game. In fact, was sent home to Kansas City and was reinstated this week. His first fumble on the opening kickoff was picked up by Angelo Snipes, and this one was recovered by the Jets. So they take over at the 21-yard line.
And the players were trying to talk to Palmer, and there's just no way to talk to the young man. I mean, 2 for 2, and guarantee it is not intentional. And what do you say to him? You can't say, it's all right, because it isn't all right, and he knows it's not all right.
The recovery by John Galvin, backup linebacker, the rookie from Boston College. So here are the Jets, who scored a moment ago, now at the doorstep, first down at the 21-yard line. Long walk for Paul Palmer. Schuler in motion. It's to the ground for McNeil. Running it to the 16, advance of 5. It will be a 2nd and 5. Lloyd Burris, the strong safety, made the stop. Set for an update. Let's go to Gail Gardner in New York.
All right, Marv, you'll appreciate this. Rumored baseball trade made official. All-star first baseman from the Orioles, Eddie Murray, sent to the Dodgers for pitchers Ken Howell, Brian Holton. Shortstop prospect Juan Bell, the younger brother of George Bell. Eddie Murray now a Dodger. Let's go back to Marv.
All right, Gail, so Eddie Murray makes his way from Baltimore to Los Angeles. A very unhappy guy in Baltimore the last couple of years. Here's Ryan. Couldn't find anyone. Throws for the end zone. Incomplete.
Here's one of the other problems that happens when you have this much time to throw the ball. When you looked at the end zone after Ryan threw the ball, Marv, there were 3 Jet receivers all in the same area. And they're all crossing, they're making moves. The one that's in the corner of the end zone standing there, and everybody else seems to come to him. He could have run the ball and picked up the first down, but he didn't. He elected to throw the ball. I think he basically threw the ball away. There's Palmer. I feel sorry for you, young man. I know what you're going through.
3rd down and 5 at the Kansas City 16. The Jets trail the Chiefs 14-7. Altoon in motion, and Ryan now throws end zone, looking for Schuler. He's got it, but out of bounds. What an effort, though, by Mickey Schuler, covered by Tim Cofield. And a flag has been thrown.
I said that neither one of these teams may ever get to the quarterback. Even if
illegal motion, number 82.
well, you're going to refuse it because you're not going to make him kick the field goal and not give him a chance to pick up the first down. Schuler that time was covered by Cofield, the linebacker, also got some help from the safety or the quarterback from Ross. But you just have so much time. There's the motion penalty right there, and it's on Mickey Schuler. Ball was thrown. He was out of bounds. He'll go for the field goal.
4th down and 5, so Pat Leahy checks in. He is 17 for 22 on the season. It is a 33-yard attempt, slight angle to the left. He has hit 48 of his last 50 from inside the 40-yard line. With the combination of Nick Lowry of Kansas City, Pat Leahy of the Jets here at Arrowhead, we are watching two of the best in the game over the past decade.
Nick Lowry has missed one field goal this year, ladies and gentlemen. Just one.
He has hit his last 12, 22 for 23. But here is Leahy with the Jets trailing 14-7. And he's got it from 33 yards away. It is now a 14-10 Kansas City lead.
And when they were showing you that shot of Palmer on 4th down, there was a young man who was saying, please, somebody block it, miss it. Don't let me be responsible for 3 points in this ball game. And he now, is he going to go back out there?
Palmer has actually missed the last 2 games. The suspension last week, plus a toe injury 2 weeks ago, and a word of confidence from head coach Frank Gans, who gave him a little pat and sends him right back out there.
And who do you think they'll kick it to? I mean, you have to kick it to him. He's fumbled the first 2 kickoffs. And if you joined us late, the first one he fumbled went right back into the hands of one of the Kansas City Chiefs, as you said before. Snipes, the linebacker, happened to be there. And you're hearing some boos.
Yes, Paul Palmer hearing it from the crowd as he drops back, along with Kenny Gamble. Down to 27 seconds left in this first quarter. And Leahy sends it to, yes, Palmer. Here he comes. Paul Palmer able to hold on as he crossed the 15-yard line. And now sardonically hears it from the crowd. Ken Rose on the stop of Palmer.
I think the people are waiting for the hat trick here. Paul Palmer, you know, look, he's got 2 hands on the ball here, and he's thinking, well, somebody hit me. Well, let me get down on the ground. Got to be going through his mind right here. It'd be nice to break one. Of course, he obviously doesn't do that, but really protecting the football, and it takes away from your running skills.
Last year, he led the AFC in kickoff return average, 24 yards per return. Herman Hurd on the carry.
Herman Hurd, the ball carrier.
Alex Gordon, outside linebacker, along with James Hasty, combining. Raiders with that 7-0 lead on a Bo Jackson run from 5 yards away. Minnesota up 7-zip in the first, as the first quarter has come to a close. Kansas City 14, the Jets 10. We'll be back here at Arrowhead in a moment. Quarter, he has returned 3 kickoffs. He is 1 for 3 in holding onto the ball. He fumbled the first 2, although his teammate Angelo Snipes did recover the first. The Jets recovering the second, and it led to the field goal.
Both teams should be able to run the ball. Both teams should be able to pass the ball. This should be this is going to be a high-scoring football game.
2nd down, 7 from the 20 as we get underway in the second quarter. Carlos Carson in motion, followed by Kyle Clifton. And the Bird took the hit, able to complete as the tight end Jonathan Hayes. At the 26, Troy Benson made the stop, set for another update. Let's get back to Gail Gardner in New York.
All right, Marv, at the vet, the Redskins keep their slim playoff hopes alive, rallying behind Doug Williams for 10 fourth-quarter points. The game winner, Chip Lowmiller, 44-yard field goal with 1 second left. Skins defeat the Eagles 20-19. Back to Marv and Paul.
Thank you, Gail. So Philadelphia now 8-6, and the Giants with that victory over the Phoenix Cardinals now 9-5, and on top in the NFC East. 3rd down and 1 at the 26-yard line. And here's a beautiful catch by Emil Harry for the first down. James Hasty on the coverage. Emil Harry, a second-year man from Stanford, with the diving grab.
This was the previous play when DeBerg threw it back out to Hayes, and the shot that he takes there by Alex Gordon. And then again, DeBerg goes back to throw again, and we're not going to belabor this point, but it's fact that these two teams really do not get much of a pass rush, and the quarterback can stand back there all day.
And the Chiefs have allowed only 1 sack the last 3 games. First down play for Hurd. Able to cut back. Picked up a couple on the play. Herman Hurd stopped by Scott Mesereau, the nose tackle. 2nd down and 8. Herman Hurd spent the first 4 weeks of the season on injured reserve with a separated shoulder. Faced the Jets for his first action of the year in that earlier game.
Mesereau was there with a cutback because the linebackers are doing their job. MacArthur just got to the outside, forced Herman Hurd back inside. They'll take a 2-yard gain anytime.
Ball at the Kansas City 34. Just getting started. 2nd quarter. Play action fake. DeBerg almost picked off by Eric McMillan.
And he ran into Herb Eatman.
Herb goes 6'7", 295.
You've got guys pairing off. It looks like a hockey match. All right, when you're going to see McMillan, he has a beat on this ball. Look, he's got it on a dead run. Goes downfield and he's stumbling, but when he turns, watch for 75. Good night.
Eric McMillan went to school here in the state of Missouri. 3rd-round draft pick out of the University of Missouri. He is tied for the NFL lead with Scott Case of Atlanta coming into today's play with 8 interceptions for the season.
Looked like a car crash here, didn't it? Get a headache.
And Eric came out 2nd best. 3rd down and 8. DeBerg going the other side, incomplete. Intended for Emil Harry. Covered by Carl Howard. And now Kansas City will go to punt formation.
You know what's amazing about that last play? We've got a hot air balloon. They're all over the place. They're all over the place. There's more. There's 2
crew not missing a thing.
That's right. But that time they had 4 defensive linemen, the Jets, coming in, plus 2 linebackers blitzing, and never got close to DeBerg.
And this the first punt of the day. Kelly Goodburn back behind his 20-yard line. JoJo Townsell awaiting the punt. Townsell at his 25. And Townsell stepped out. 42-yard punt and 18-yard return. 2.5 gone by. 2nd quarter. Kansas City 14. The Jets 10.
And by Coors Light, there's no slowing down with a silver bullet. It's the right beer now.
Welcome back to Arrowhead in Kansas City. The Kansas City Chiefs leading the New York Jets 14-10. Marv Albert along with Paul Maguire on a very pleasant 44-degree day here in Kansas City. We're early, 2nd quarter. And when we resume, it will be a 1st and 10 from the 36.
That's Andy Hawkins that got hurt on that punt return. Oops.
Well, it has begun. John Stedman, the president of the Kansas City Chiefs, who saw the negative sign directed to general manager Jim Schaaf that was taken by one of the security men. It's been a tumultuous 2 years for Frank Gans this season. Chiefs started at 1-8-1. Last year they started at 1-9. For whatever reasons, it has not worked out, and he and general manager Jim Schaaf appear to be in jeopardy, although over the years it has been difficult to figure out Lamar Hunt, whether he will make a move or not. First down from the 36-yard line. Roger Vick picked up 2. Jack Del Rio, Tim Cofield combining on the tackle.
No, when you see the signs and you see the guys with the masks on and they're, hanging people, we'll get to it in a second. Here's Jack Del Rio, the middle linebacker, who's been playing very well for him. He just sits in the hole and blocks up everything, gets a piece of the tackle. But I reading the newspapers the last couple of days here in Kansas City, Marv, and the fans, the letters to the editor are just brutal. They want the whole shoot match out of here.
And a crowd of only 30,000 turning out today. Capacity here at 78,000. Leonard Griffin, the left defensive end, got a piece of it. There's Griffin. Had a strong game last week against Pittsburgh. 11 tackles. He's a third-year man out of Grambling.
When you see Ryan right here, Leonard Griffin is about 8 yards away from him, and he just timed it perfectly as the ball's being thrown. He just stuck his big paw up in the air. Reggie McElroy was trying to block him.
Third down, 8 from the 38. Ryan is 3 for 8, 58 yards. All 3 completions to the tight end, Mickey Schuler, including 1 touchdown. And Ryan going incomplete. And again, Lloyd Boris with a shot off the deflection. Al Toon, the intended receiver. Ryan threw a bullet.
It hits him right in the shoulder. You had Deron Cherry and Sidney Johnson, number 45. Deron Cherry is 20. They're both there. Watch where this ball hits Toon. Right in the shoulder pad. Goes up in the air, and the ball went about 15 yards downfield. It was almost intercepted by Ross.
And Joe Prokop back to punt for the first time today. He is back at his 23. Kittrick Taylor awaits the punt and single safety. 3.5 gone by, second quarter. And Prokop avoiding the rush, pops one high. And carries out of bounds. 32-yard punt. And a timeout taken. Kansas City with a 14-10 lead on the Jets. Kansas City Chiefs first down from their 31-yard line. 11.5 remaining. First half, the Chiefs 14 and the Jets 10. That is Hurd in motion. And Okoye with a short yardage pickup. Troy Benson on the stop. Christian Okoye, who has great speed, terrific all-around athlete.
Well, you see Okoye cut in here, but you see number 44 at the top of the screen was Herman Hurd. I think the play was designed to go outside. The hole was not there, so Okoye came back to the inside.
Last week against Pittsburgh, had a good one. 58 yards, 9 carries. Now Paul Palmer has checked in. He is flanked out to the near side. Second down and 6. Okoye reaching to the 40. He is short of the first down. Troy Benson on the tackle.
Troy Benson doesn't like to mark. He liked to see the ball marked back a little bit further, and they marked it right at the 40-yard line. Here comes Benson, number 54, is going to come into your picture. Christian Okoye is up to speed right here. But look at Benson. He carries him, and he does have the ball. He wants the ball marked back. They gave him an extra yard.
And it will be a 3rd and 1. Troy Benson, defensive co-captain in his 3rd season out of Pittsburgh. Okoye and Saxon now are the running backs. Saxon slashing for the first down and some more. Refused to go down, and he ripped off 7 yards.
On this play here, Kyle Clifton, the linebacker, when he goes in, he went in to make the initial hit. You'll see it, but you still have to wrap your arms around. Christian Okoye is out in front. Here goes Saxon. You see Clifton right here. He makes the hit all right. Everything is fine. But he did not wrap his arms around. Saxon picks up another 6 yards.
And a first down at the 48. Palmer in the backfield with Okoye. It's Okoye out to midfield. So the Chiefs now doing some shuffling in the backfield. Marty Lyons on the stop. Marty Lyons at age 31, a major question mark coming into the season with injuries to both shoulders, but he has come through with a very solid year.
Young 31. He's a very young 31.
Well, the Chiefs have won 8 in a row in December at Arrowhead, while Joe Walton's Jets have not won a game during the regular season in December, as Paul Palmer got the call. You go back to 1985, 0-7 the last 2 years, 4-12 overall during the Joe Walton era.
Watch Rich Miano come in here, number 36. He really makes a great play. Baldinger, number 77, comes out to block him. Miano sheds the block of the guard and makes the tackle. That's just super play by the strong safety.
It's a 3rd down and 7. Chiefs at midfield. And DeBerg went short. That was scooped up by Emil Harry. He tried to give the impression that he caught it, but he short hopped it.
Well, they're going to give him the catch, but he was looking at first down marker.
Oh, he did make the catch.
He made the catch, rolled over with the ball. The fans are booing because, number 1, they wanted a first down, and number 2, with 4th and about 1.5 yards, the Chiefs are going to punt the ball.
All right, so it was a clean catch. And here is Kelly Goodburn back at the 41-yard line, punting to JoJo Townsell. 7:45 remaining in the first half. And just did get it off. Big rush by John Booty. And only a 28-yard punt as the roll continues.
The rush was there. I just can't believe that they didn't block this ball by Goodburn. When I watch this right in the middle of your screen, Booty is there. And I didn't get the other number. Booty was there. He was the man that really had a shot at it.
Very, very close. May have even gotten a little piece of it. Timeout taken. We'll be right back.
We're going to show you that catch by Emil Harry. Carl Howard, it's excellent catch and also tremendous coverage. As soon as Emil Harry catches the ball, Carl Howard is there to put him on the ground. It's good defense and good offense.
Jets first down from their 15. Freeman McNeil getting the call. Strong safety Lloyd Burris on the stop. The final scores, all the early games, of course, have concluded. Victories for New England. The Giants big over Phoenix. Washington knocking off Philadelphia. Cincinnati, Cleveland, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay over Buffalo 10-5. San Francisco knocks off Atlanta. Indianapolis beating Miami. Detroit big over Green Bay. And the later game, Minnesota now 10-0 over New Orleans on a Chuck Nelson field goal. Roger Vick trying to pick his way, could not make the turn. The right corner, Kevin Ross, on the stop. Minnesota now 10-0 over New Orleans. Nelson hitting from 37 yards out to extend the lead.
Cofield and Ross both make a great play. Now, Jack Del Rio comes up, and he's just trying to get rid of the guard coming out blocking on him, Dan Alexander. But when you take a look at what Ross and Cofield, they're there to make the play. Just no place to go.
Kevin Ross from Paulsboro, New Jersey, still nursing a separated shoulder injury suffered 4 weeks ago. Played his college football in Temple with Paul Palmer. 3rd and 7, the shovel pass for Hector. And Hector getting to the first down marker.
Deron Cherry is totally upset with himself because he had the play stop at the line of scrimmage. Number 20, Deron Cherry, was there, the leading tackler on this football team, but Hector makes the play. Now just watch what happens here. It's a little fake, and then that's a toss pass, so if it was dropped, it would have been an incomplete pass. But here's Deron Cherry. Hector makes a tremendous move to get back. Jim Sweeney, number 53, the center, downfield, making the block, first down.
8 yards on the play on the first down at the 26 in a quick-moving second quarter. 5.5 remaining. Flag has been thrown.
Ineligible, number 68, downfield.
That was a little late, wasn't it?
Reggie McElroy called for being downfield.
That almost took as long as one of those replays. Oops. No sooner said than done. Do we see the replay booth? Joe wants to know, well, why didn't you call it, you know, like 5 minutes ago? Now there's a big discussion. Yeah, get in there, Mickey, because they really need your help.
Very few penalties have been called to this point.
Oops, they're going to bring the sticks back again. Now that they know, I think what they're doing is they're trying to find out where the ball was marked before. Now but they also, on this side of the field, they have a stick that shows where the drive starts.
Ineligible, number 68. Fourth down.
Well, that strips the Jets of that gorgeous move by Johnny Hector off the shovel pass.
Now I got to ask you, in Duran Cherry's stats now, that is not a missed tackle then, right? Because the play didn't exist.
Right. It's never happened.
When the officials were talking, I think what they were doing, and it has nothing to do with the instant replay on the play, Marv, I think they were doing is to try to find out and go back and take a look where the ball was marked on third down before. That's still third down.
It is a third down and 8. And the confusion continues now. The officials marking it back. The ball should be on the 13. They did not mark off the penalty. It could have been dangerous if the snap had taken place.
Well, they're going to put it on the 9 now.
And they have spotted it at the 9-yard line. Now, we saw it at the 13, but the ball has been marked down to the 9.
Fred Wyatt's ready now.
Is a 9-yard penalty. Have to go back to the tape on that one. Intended for Wesley Walker. Broken up by Sidney Johnson, the backup corner. And the Jets will go into punt formation with 5 minutes and 13 seconds left in this first half.
Actually, Wesley Walker had Sidney Johnson beaten on the play, and Johnson just timed it perfectly. Went up in the air. The ball was underthrown, tipped the ball. Looked like he was trying to tip it to one of his other defensive backs, which would have been Kevin Ross, number 31.
And Pat Ryan, such a factor last week, and the victory over Miami has gone 0 for his last 5 as Joe Crocop gets set to punt out of his end zone. Kitrick Taylor at midfield, big rush, and he gets it off. And here's Taylor out of the 35 to the 33, a 35-yard punt and a 7-yard return. John Galvin on the stop of Taylor. So the Chiefs take over in Jet territory. New Year's weekend, the nation's top 3 college football teams will be right here on NBC. Championship Monday will begin with the Hall of Fame ball. Syracuse going against LSU. And then the Fiesta to determine the national championship. Number 1 Notre Dame against number 3 West Virginia, led by Major Harris in a battle of the nation's only unbeaten team. The Birds throwing deep again, has a man wide open. Touchdown! Once again combining with Stephon Page. This time for 33 yards.
And again, just ran right by James Hasty. Hasty trying to play up on Stephon Page. For a long time, Stephon Page was the guy to Kansas City that came off the bench to play. And DeBerg sees the one-on-one coverage on the other side to his left. He sees Stephon Page. You see James Hasty. Not even close. Not even close. Stephon Page again, just waiting on the ball. Total concentration on the ball. Hasty, no chance.
Earlier, DeBerg to Page on a 41-yard strike. He also combined with Carlos Carson on a 40-yard touchdown pass. And here's Lowry putting it through. So DeBerg has thrown for 15 touchdowns for the season. And Kansas City now in front of the New York Jets by the score of 21-10.
Marv, and the other thing, too, with the Jets, and you sit back at home and you say, well, why don't the Jets start throwing the ball? Because they've got Toon and they've got Wesley Walker and Mickey Schuler. You're looking at probably the best defensive backfield in the National Football League. I'm talking combined with the Kansas City Chiefs. Of course, Albert Lewis, their all-pro is out today, could play, but Burroughs, Cherry, Ross, and now they have Pearson back there. They're excellent pass defenders.
Raiders with that 7-0 lead on Denver. Minnesota maintaining the 10-0 lead on New Orleans. Coming up at halftime, Bob Costas hosting NFL Live, and a look at all the games on this NFL Sunday. Joe Walton's Jets now down 21-10 for the second time this afternoon. James Hasty was beaten badly. Steve DeBerg, acquired last spring from Tampa Bay. This is fifth NFL team, originally a 10th round draft pick of Dallas back in 1977. Won the starting job from Bill Kenny. After last season, Kansas City gave up on their one-time top draft pick, Todd Blackledge, trading him to Pittsburgh, so they go with the 34-year-old Steve DeBerg, who incidentally will be 35 in January.
28-year-old Marv. Stephon Page is telling all his teammates, I own this guy. 2 passes, I got 2 touchdowns, just keep throwing it to me.
And the kickoff return by Humphrey. Bobby Humphrey stepped out. He had some room, but took a hard hit, and also taking some extracurricular treatment from Angelo Snipes, and that leads to this. That was not appreciated by the Jets. A lot of talking back and forth here in the first half. Eric McMillan and James Hasty, the 2 rookies, have made a reputation for the chatter. And earlier McMillan took a hard shot from Irv Eatman, and now watch this and the aftermath.
Well, Troy Steadman is the guy that's going to eventually, number 94 is the guy eventually is going to hit him. Right here comes 94 Steadman, and he catches him with his whole body facing him and just drills him out of bounds. And that is a good play because he had no idea that Humphrey had stepped out of bounds.
And then Snipes came over and provided a little sarcastic treatment with Humphrey down. First down at the 36-yard line. McNeil picking his way.
McNeil, the ball carrier.
4.5 left now, first half. Kevin Ross on the stop of McNeil.
You know, the Jets in the first couple possessions they had, they even though like 3 and out, 3 and punt, but on first down and or second down, when they ran up the middle, Marv, they were getting 6 yards. Now you've got Jerome Sally in there, the guy that just got here. He, as a player, he's played before, but you'd think you'd want to test that. Now they're behind. They have to throw the ball.
Second down 7. Recent games, the Jets have also improved their play on first downs. Incomplete. Intended for Johnny Hector. Jack Del Rio on the coverage.
Well, when Johnny Hector came out of the backfield, he was open. He set up about 3 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. He was open. Ryan didn't see him until late and then threw the ball late. To the right of your screen, Hector will come out. And right here, when he sets up, he's open. Del Rio's about 7 yards to his left. Now, look when the ball is thrown. Del Rio has enough time to get to Hector. Had he caught the ball, it would have been good for about a 2-yard gain is all.
Matt Ryan struggling in this first half. There's Jack Del Rio. 12 tackle game last week against Pittsburgh. Ryan with a 3rd down and 7. And Ryan going deep for Toon. He's got him. Al Toon with a long gainer. 42-yard pass play. Sidney Johnson got him out of bounds.
Al Toon. You talk about total concentration because that ball just drops over the shoulder of Al Toon and Sidney Johnson. Sidney Johnson, 45. Look at Toon. He waits, concentration on the ball. Here comes the ball over the shoulder. Sidney Johnson had no chance at all. That ball was perfectly thrown.
Last week against the Dolphins, Toon with a career-high 14 catches, 181 yards. Had some difficulty in the earlier game against Kansas City, that 17-17 tie. Al Toon with his 78th reception leads the NFL coming into today. And here is Ryan going sideline with Schuler. Ball spotted at the 15-yard line. Cofield covering Mickey Schuler.
You got to make this just a catching game. You know, we saw it a week ago in Cincinnati where you throw the ball up and down the field. And take a look at when Mickey Schuler goes out, you've got Cofield, a linebacker, trying to cover the tight end. They're one-on-one. There's Cofield there. There's Mickey Schuler there. It's a 5-yard gain. There's nothing wrong with that. Do it all day long when you have a linebacker trying to run with a tight end.
2nd and 6 at the Kansas City 15. 81 Briggs in motion to the ground. And a spinning move by Johnny Hector. First down for the Jets. It'll be a 1st and goal. That catch by Toon, the longest reception this season against Kansas City. 42-yard pass play. You see time counting down. 3.5 remaining, first half. And the Jets trailing Kansas City 21-10.
And that time the Jets did test the middle of the defensive line of Kansas City and pick up a first down. They picked up 6 yards on the play, or 7 yards on the play.
Now Griggs splits to the left side. And then comes in motion. McNeil inside the 5.
Here we go again. The same thing. It's back up in the middle again. You've got Griggs coming down as a blocker, and Freeman McNeil, they see the middle. Vic gets a good block for him. He just picks his way through for another 6 yards. They're down to the 3-yard line, almost the 2-yard line. Don't stop going where you're getting the yardage.
Good start for Freeman McNeil. He had a 184-yard day against Kansas City last year. He's had 4 100-yard games in 5 meetings against the Chiefs. A 2nd and goal from the 2. Again, Briggs in motion. Here's Hector. Johnny Hector hit by Aaron Pearson and stopped on the play.
Marv, you don't want to run there because that's where the linebackers are lining up. Jack Del Rio in the middle of the field between the 2 guards and the center. There are no linebackers. You can see, all you see is a referee go right up the middle of the field. You're not going to find a linebacker in there. You go back to the outside, and there's Jack Del Rio and Pearson, 2 linebackers. They're going to fill the hole.
And we have just received the 2-minute warning. Kansas City 21, Jets 10. 8th play of the drive for the Jets, a 3rd and goal. And here is Ryan throwing end zone, touchdown. Al Toon, who was behind Mickey Schuler, using his 6'4", 205 pounds to come up with that pass.
And, you know, we talked about it at the beginning of the game, so let's talk about it again. Look how much time Ryan has, and credit that to the offensive line. They're blocking at the line of scrimmage. No one really close to him, and he's got time to wait to see Toon go across. And I got to believe he was throwing the ball to Schuler because he saw him first. The ball went over the top, and Al Toon is there. He just flips it up in the air, but he also had all day to throw it.
And now Pat Leahy, with Ryan holding, able to put it through. So with 1:53 left in this first half, the Chiefs now lead the Jets 21-17. Food out of that type of situation.
People they're talking to them, people just love to line up on guys because they know that they've got to sit there and wait on you. The defense just unloads.
Paul Palmer, Kenny Gamble, back for the kickoff. Leahy sending it in the direction of Gamble to the 15, 20, out across the 30, and driving to the 35. A 20-yard return. Marion Barber, who leads the Jet special teams, making the stop. And here's Steve DeBerg and the offensive unit. It's all even at the tackles. Baldinger, Addix at the guards, and Fury the center.
This is an excellent run by Gamble. All he did is follow the wedge. The wedge blocks for him. Paul Palmer gets in there and makes a block, and then just that little crack in there. But Barber is there to make the play, and he makes most of them.
Kenny Gamble, a rookie from Colgate, 10th round draft pick.
I would be surprised to see the Chiefs sit on the ball here. They've been throwing it so well with no heat at all on the quarterback. They have 3 timeouts. They have 1:48.
Carl Howard has come on.
First timeout.
Timeout called by the Jets. Howard at the corner for the rookie James Hasty. Had a rough first half. So with 1:48 remaining in the first half, the Raiders now with a 14-0 lead on the Broncos. Schrader to Steve Smith on a 45-yard pass play, and still 10-0 Minnesota over New Orleans. And including today's games, the AFC maintaining its command over the NFC this season by the count of 27-21. For those of you I know busily at home keeping score.
It's one of my favorite stats.
Oh, yeah. First down from the 35-yard line. And this is Okoye. A 4-yard advance. Marty Lyons on the tackle. Clock running.
It's always surprised me why you have a hurry-up offense. You run a running play. You have 3 timeouts. Why don't you just go ahead and take one?
Second down and 5.
All the time you take to call it at the line of scrimmage.
The Bird getting the time, and let's see if they roll that into rather interception. Troy Benson with the shoe top grab. Penalty marker thrown. Apparently it is an interception for Benson. And a flag.
I don't know who DeBerg was throwing the ball to. And we'll be able to see somebody coming across the middle. Now, that's Herman Hurd, 44. That ball isn't within 10 yards of Herman Hurd. There was not another player even close to the ball. And DeBerg was not rushed. But down there, it's a little bit different, Marv. They see something a little bit different than we see up here. But all I saw was open field, no one there except for Troy Benson.
And we didn't hear the penalty, but obviously it has been called on Kansas City, a late hit as Benson came up with his first interception. There it is. First interception of the season.
It's on Fury. He came in with his shoulder and his head into the player on the ground, and they call it. They say, what did I do?
Well, the Jets take over. 1:14 left in this first half. Jets first down at the 38. Play action. And Ryan with the time again, able to find Toon. Toon able to cover up. 18-yard pickup. Jets in the hurry up. Kevin Ross made the stop on Al Toon. Clock running, just under 1 minute remaining.
Just watch the line of scrimmage and see if anybody gets even close to Ryan.
And Ryan goes sideline. So Toon, this time with a short pickup, covered by Kevin Ross. And that stops the clock with 46 seconds remaining in the half.
You know, I keep talking about this, but take a look at Ryan. All you see are white shirts. You don't see any red shirts in his face. That's Bell, number 99, the defensive end. They had 2 people on him. I understand that. But both quarterbacks, and we've been talking about this all through the game, Marv, that they just stand back there because there's no rush by the offense or the defensive line. And when they put a blitz on, they're not even getting close. Attribute that to the play of both offensive lines.
Toon is to the right, and Walker left. 2nd and 8. Getting credit.
They call in the grasp. The Jets have 2 timeouts. You ought to take one. Your players are downfield. Snipes is there. There's just no block on the outside. Dan Alexander missed Snipes coming back. Now they take a timeout. And they lost about 12 seconds on the clock trying to get the people back to the huddle.
And for Snipes, his 2nd sack of the season, the first one for either club today. And when we resume, a 3rd down and 14 with 34 seconds left in the half. Marion Barber leaders this season. Out of that group, only one linebacker, Tim Cofield, is still in action.
And they only have 20 sacks this year. That became 21. And 11 of those guys are missing. Not guys, but sacks are missing because they're hurt.
Ryan directing traffic. Couldn't find anyone and then found the opening. opening and runs for the first down. 25 seconds remaining in the half. A 15-yard scamper for Pat Ryan.
They have one timeout in 25 seconds. You can get 3, possibly 4 plays off. You see, they had a blitz on that time. They sent linebackers and a defensive lineman. As soon as Ryan sees it, the rest of the secondary is backed up into the end zone in coverage. He just tucked the ball away and ran for 16 yards.
And it will be a 1st and goal at the 9-yard line. The Chiefs lead the Jets 21-17 off 3 touchdown passes by Steve DeBerg. 2 to Stephon Page, 1 to Carlos Carson. Ryan hit Schuler on a 42-yard touchdown. Leahy with a 33-yard field goal, and then Ryan to Toon on a 2-yard pass play, and a delay of game call on the Jets.
Well, Ryan looked at the clock, and he knew that the clock was running down because the play came in and took a long time to call. But he only has 1 timeout, Marv, and he couldn't afford to take the timeout now. I still wouldn't be out at that position. I wouldn't have been surprised to see him run the ball at least 1 time up the middle, and they still would have time to get back and get at least 2 more plays off.
Instead, a 2nd and goal from inside the 15, and Ryan will do it out of the shotgun. That's Sohn in motion. Ryan looking end zone, and it is broken up. It appeared Kevin Ross would be able to pick it off. Ross, number 31, the pass intended in the corner for Freeman McNeil. McNeil there along with Kurt Sohn.
It's the example of 2 guys going for the ball and a mid-air collision. They just hit in top flight. Freeman McNeil and Kevin Ross. Watch this. And I mean, they just go their separate ways once they're hit. And no one, absolutely no one, got the best of that deal.
It is a 2nd and goal from inside the 15, and Ryan throwing the other way, incomplete. Intended for Al Toon, who was double covered.
Toon was double covered, and if Ryan could have held the ball for 1 second longer, he'd have had himself a touchdown, because even though Toon was double covered, he got free of the 2 players, and he was right in the middle, and Ryan just threw the ball too high.
So a 3rd and goal from inside the 15. 14 seconds remaining in the half. Hector with the block. Incomplete. Ross on the coverage. Pass intended for Toon. And it's a 4th and goal from inside the 15 with 10 seconds remaining.
This would only been about a 6-yard pass pattern anyway, because take a look at where Toon is. He's on about the 9-yard line. Kevin Ross was there to make the play. So was Deron Cherry. It'll be just about 5 yards closer to kick a field goal.
Now Leahy in a 32-yard attempt. Hit one earlier from 33. He's 18 for 23 on the season. Full snap. But Leahy able to correct it. And he puts it right through. So the Jets chip away, and they've cut the Kansas City lead down to 1 with 6 seconds left in the half. And Pat Leahy has now hit 50 of his last 52 attempts from inside the 40-yard line.
Just consistency. You know, we have not been able to see Lowry kick so far today. Of course, he was scoring long bomb touchdowns, so he hadn't had an opportunity to kick a field goal. But Lowry's 22 out of 23 going in this year. He's only missed 1.
Missed 1 against the Raiders. And that was back in week 9. Coming up at halftime, we go back to our studios in New York. NFL Live with Bob Costas, Ahmad Rashad, Gail Gardner.
You guys yesterday were teasing Lowry. They said it was a chip shot. It was 39 yards, I think, that he missed.
And there's Paul Palmer dropping back. Ian Gamble, the deep man. Since 1980, Nick Lowry has made more field goals, scored more points than any player in the NFL. And he was cut by 7 teams, including the Jets, who had Leahy before he was able to catch on. And Leahy put it on the ground. Here's Gamble out to the 20. Clock showing 2 seconds remaining. Kenny Gamble stopped by Carl Howard.
Angelo Snipes is a little linebacker, backup linebacker, getting up slowly.
Kansas City Chiefs at 3-9-1. For what it's worth, most of their losses have been close games. They've dropped 7 games by a touchdown or less. All 3 Kansas City wins have been by a touchdown or less. 11 of their 13 games have been decided on the final drive of the game. Now, the coaches like to point that out, but Paul, to me, that's the mark of a bad ball club.
It really is, Marvin. And the game is not lost in the last drive. It's lost throughout the entire ball game. The mistakes are made early, not late.
Highlight of their season, prior to the loss at Pittsburgh last week, they had won 2 in a row, surprising Cincinnati and Seattle. But otherwise, it has been a dreadful year for the Kansas City Chiefs. But at halftime, they lead the Jets. 3 touchdown passes from Steve DeBerg, and it's the Chiefs 21 and the Jets 20. We'll be back right after we pause for these messages. There's been only that one sack by Kansas City. That's been the story, and this man has done well. Steve DeBerg in his 12th season out of San Jose State. Man has been around Dallas, Denver, San Francisco, Tampa Bay. Kansas City had his best year with the 49ers in 1979, leading the NFL in completed passes. Here's the kickoff by Lowry. Humphrey and Townsend are back, and it's Bobby Humphrey out to the 20. Nice cut by Humphrey, and down he goes at the 28-yard line, stopped by Greg Hill. So the Jets to the offense as we open up here in the second half. The lights are on at Arrowhead. It's been a very pleasant day. Even you would agree, Paul.
Balloons are out. Everybody's
yes, very
out.
nice.
Except the fans. They stayed home.
Maybe 30,000 on hand. Capacity here at 78,000 in what has been a very long season for the Kansas City Chiefs, who come in at 3-9-1. The Jets at 6-6-1, and now this a very big game with the victories earlier in the day by New England and Indianapolis. Big in terms of Jet wild card playoff hopes. Freeman McNeil with a short pickup. The inside linebacker Jack Del Rio made the stop. The Jets offensive line with Criswell and McElroy at the tackles, Haight and Alexander at the guards. And the center is Sweeney. Dan Alexander making his return last week. He's been bothered by a torn calf muscle. He is the key. When he has been in there, the Jets have usually run well.
And you know, you just mentioned like a short pickup, and it didn't look like much. Moving the defensive line off, the offensive line just did. They picked up 5 yards on the play.
Second down play. Schuler in motion, and Ryan swings it for Hector. Hector running for the first down and additional yardage. Run out by Duron Cherry, a 17-yard play.
This looked like maybe like a one-man screen with one guy out there in front of him, and that's Jim Sweeney, 53. Watch what he does. He gets out in front and makes the block. Here comes Sweeney. Hector's following him. Sweeney just pushes Pearson out. No chance to make the play. First down. Excellent play by the center.
Jim Sweeney in his 5th season out of Pittsburgh, a very versatile offensive lineman. He's been switched from left guard to left tackle, now working at center. First down at midfield for the Jets. Again, it is Schuler, 82, peeling off. And Ryan had it knocked away. And we'll have to wait and see what the call is. It appears the Chiefs have it.
Wait a minute. That's a forward pass.
No, they say it is a fumble. The Jets contending that it was a forward pass deflected, but it is a fumble, and the Chiefs will take possession.
Now Ryan is moving out, and Tim Cofield comes from the backside. There goes the arm. This is a forward pass. They're going to review it, and they got to give the ball back to the Jets. His arm was in motion when it was hit. Here comes Ryan. Here's Cofield behind. Now look at his arms in motion when it's hit. question is, are they going to say that it was hit on the way up? No, they're not even going to review it.
No, not at all.
That's a surprise.
Replay official is Fritz Graff, and they have ruled it as a fumble. And the Jets turn it over Kansas City from their 46-yard line. Here's Herman Hurd. Yard on the play. Marty Lyons made the stop.
Alex Gordon, number 55, the outside linebacker, made a tremendous play. He just takes two people out of the play and allows the defense to get to the play. Gordon, that was just super.
And Paul, I'm told that it was reviewed just a moment ago, a quick review, and it was determined that it was indeed a fumble. Fritz Graff in the replay booth. 2nd down and 9 at the 47. DeBerg off the fake. Here's Okoye. Well, Christian Okoye with an 8-yard advance. Kyle Clifton on the stop. And Kansas City has a first down. Look at Minnesota. 31-0 over New Orleans. And the Raiders doing it to Denver in the 3rd quarter.
Minnesota, we had the opportunity a couple of weeks ago to see them in Minnesota, and they are an awesome football team, especially on defense. Number 1 team in the National Football League on defense.
Minnesota Vikings with a record of 9-4 coming in. First down at the Jet 44-yard line. Play action. And DeBerg with the time. He has Okoye. So Okoye coming out of the backfield. Stopped by James Hasty, who is back in at right corner. He was benched briefly at the end of the first half, beaten badly twice for touchdowns, and he was replaced by Carl Howard.
I love that when you said DeBerg with the time. Look at the time. There's nothing but red shirts. There's nobody close. And then just picks up Okoye coming across the middle. He picks up 8 yards on the play.
Kansas City 2nd and 2 at the Jet 36. Chiefs lead 21-20. Hurd with the first down. Herman Hurd stopped by Kyle Clifton and Troy Benson, 2 inside linebackers. And Kansas City in the midst of a good-looking drive.
Kyle Clifton's had a pretty good day so far. You'll see him right here in the middle. He's just trying to find Hurd now. Sees him cut back to the inside. Clifton's there. He gets a little help from Troy Benson, the other linebacker, and McMillan was also there.
Kendrick Taylor now split wide left side. Stephon Page to the right. Hurd and Okoye, the running backs. Okoye. 2-yard pickup. Bobby Humphrey right there. Christian Okoye in a 2nd season out of Azusa Pacific. Missed 5 games this year. A broken thumb setting him back. The Chiefs coaches say still has no idea what he can do with that great body, because you don't see guys who weigh 250 pounds plus able to run and knock people over when he's running. They think he's only scratched the surface.
But the one thing he does not have, Marv, is that quick acceleration right now. It takes him a couple of steps to get there, but once he does get there, you see what happens.
And Okoye getting to the 25-yard line. Clifton on the stop.
Okoye, you see the move he makes from the back. Now he's at full speed. By the time he gets to the line of scrimmage, he's there. Clifton makes the tackle, but Okoye picked up 6 yards on the play.
You know, I prefer the new pronunciation. Okoye sounds more dramatic than simply Okoye.
I like Azusa Pacific myself.
That's a high-scoring basketball team, incidentally, Paul, as you were going to point out.
Yeah, I was. I talked to Al Maguire the other day about it.
3rd down and 3 at the 25. And again, DeBerg with the time. And overthrew Carlos Carson on a timing pattern. Carson covered by Humphrey.
Bobby Humphrey's not even looking at Carlos Carson, because Carlos Carson thought that you see Humphrey smiling, and I think he got away with holding Carlos Carson and tripped going back to the huddle.
Nick Lowry now comes on and will attempt a field goal for the first time today. This from 43 yards out. He's 22 for 23 on the season. He has hit his last 12. Kenny will hold. The angle to the left from 43. Jets Jets jumping, trying to distract Lowry. And it is blocked. Picked up by Miano. Marty Lyons with the block. So Lowry, who missed back in week 9 on a 34-yard attempt against the Raiders, with his second miss, only his second miss of the season.
Now, you see Marty Lyons just broke through. No, there was someone trying to block him. Lyons got through, got penetration, and before that ball could get up in the air, he got his arms up and blocked it. Excellent play.
Timeout taken. We'll be back here in Kansas City in a moment. Following that blocked field goal attempt by Marty Lyons, Jets take over from their 18. They're trailing 21-20. Freeman McNeil picking his way. Jack Del Rio, a name we have been calling throughout the afternoon, making the stop from his right inside linebacker position.
Well, look at this field goal. It's right in the middle. Marty Lyons just breaks between the center and the guard. And the guard at that point happened to be Irv Eatman, number 75. Just gets the penetration. The ball never had a chance to get up. Great play.
And Miano able to come up with it. Second down and 6. The acceleration by Hector. Look at that balance as he has picked up a first down. Ripped off 8 yards on the play.
But see, there's a difference. The play before, they tried to run it outside where the linebackers are sitting. Now they run the play, Marv, up the middle more. And when you see Hector going there, there are no linebackers in that position to make the play.
For Johnny Hector, this a 4th straight solid performance. 68 yards, 13 carries, running hard last week against Miami. And the Jets first down at their 30. 8.5 left in the third quarter. Again to the ground. Roger Vick stopped by Jack Del Rio. He picked up 7, so it will be a second down and 3. A swing around the scoreboard. These are the early games. New England going to 8-6. The Giants knocking off Phoenix with Phil Simms making his return. Washington in a come-from-behind effort. Cincinnati easy win over San Diego. Cleveland had some trouble but beat Dallas. Tampa Bay in a surprise, knocking off Buffalo. San Francisco over Atlanta. Atlanta going well recently. Indianapolis knocking out Miami. Detroit big over Green Bay. Here's Hector. And the Jets will have to see where the ball is spotted. Don Thorpe on the stop. We mentioned earlier Marion Barber suffered a pinched nerve in his neck. The x-rays negative, but he will not return. Raiders now with a 21-3 lead on Denver. You go back to the earlier meeting between those two clubs in September, and since then, since a 24-0 Denver lead in that first meeting at halftime, the Raiders have outscored Denver 52-6.
And the Raiders also only have 1 loss in their division, and that was to Seattle the other night.
3rd and 1, and Hector galloping for the first down and more. 16 yards for Johnny Hector.
Marv, you've got to give the credit not only on pass protection to this offensive line of the New York Jets, but also take a look on the running plays. They just cave everything down to the inside. McElroy gets an excellent block. You've got Vick out in front, and then Hector makes a couple of good moves, picks up a first down and more. But offensively, the New York Jets offensive line just doing the job on Kansas City defensive line and linebackers. And that's another reason why Deron Cherry, the weak safety, is the leading tackler on this football team.
Good block by Alexander on that play. First down at the Kansas City 45. And Ryan has a wide open Al Toon. He can put the moves on. Does it to Cherry. And Cherry rides him out of bounds. The Jets will have a first and goal. 38-yard pass play. So Al Toon, who has a most interesting repertoire when he's in the open field, did it to the 5'11" Deron Cherry.
Well, first of all, he's going to, after he catches the ball, he's going to lose Kevin Ross. Watch Ross. He's going to come back to try to make the play. Don't overrun Al Toon. You better break down. Deron Cherry is going to sit there and wait now. He's waiting for someone to come and give him some help, and you don't see anyone in the picture. That's how wide open Toon was. But the thing about it is that the Kansas City Chiefs, You see Jack Del Rio, number 50 there. They had a blitz on again. Did not get close to Ryan. He had all day long to try and find 2, and he did.
First and goal at the 7. Play action, and Ryan swings it out to Hector. And bumped out at the 6 by the strong safety, Lloyd Burris.
That play just took a little bit too long to develop because it let Aaron Pearson, number 96, the linebacker, get out to Hector after he caught the ball.
Now Wesley Walker checking in since Pat Ryan has taken over for Ken O'Brien. Both Walker and Toon have been rediscovered, although Walker has been quiet this afternoon. Al Toon, though, has caught 5. It's a 2nd and goal at the 6. And that is exactly what Hector does for the touchdown. So the Jets have taken the lead for the first time this afternoon.
Well, it was supposed to be actually an off-tackle play, but Hector cuts it back because he went off the block of Freeman McNeil. Freeman McNeil gets a good block here. He's to the right of the screen. Look at Freeman. He's got his man. He takes him out of the picture. He's on the ground, and that's Jack Del Rio, the linebacker that Freeman McNeil blocked. You may see it a little bit better here. Here comes Freeman. You've got Alexander coming out, but Freeman McNeil is right there on the ground, blocks Jack Del Rio. Hector in for the touchdown.
Matt Leahy now attempting the extra point. And Leahy remains flawless. Just under 6 minutes remaining. Third quarter, the Jets 27 and the Chiefs 21. The king of beers. The Jets have come from behind. They lead the Chiefs 27-21. And it is Palmer on the return to the 20. Out across the 25-yard line. For those of you who were not with us at the start, Paul Palmer with fumbles on his first 2 kickoff returns coming off the week of controversy, but able to hold on to his last 3. Major problems going into this year, and that they are not eligible for the tournament. Jets with a 27-21 lead. Kansas City first down from their 27-yard line. 5:45 remaining in this third quarter. It is Okoye, but the play is whistled dead. Penalty marker is down. And here's
false start, number 61, 5 yards, first down.
Right guard Mark Addix called on the false start. And Paul, we have received the official attendance figure. They have not exactly elbowed their way in here at Arrowhead. 30,059 capacity is better than 78,000. They've been lively at times, but time to time we'd like to hear more crowd reaction. Here it is. Very nice. Thank you, Paul.
Okay.
If you can do that from time to time, we'll end up upstairs with the folks we just saw. First down 15. And the ball completes. Stephon Page on the reception. Picked up 17 for the first down.
Well, we talked about it in the first half, and for those of you that just joined us, this picture here of DeBerg standing back there all by himself, and also Ryan on the other side standing back all by himself, it's been going on through this entire game. And when you have that much time, there's just no way that the defensive secondary can stay with the receivers that are in this game.
You get the idea sometimes we're watching the Pro Bowl where the quarterbacks are off limit. Herman Hurd with a good second effort. Troy Benson on the stop. And a flag is thrown.
Kansas City backing up.
And again, the call against the Chiefs.
Holding.
Holding, number 77, first down.
Called against the left guard, Rich Baldinger, local product from the New York area, from Massapequa, Long Island, originally a 10th round draft pick of the Giants. Raiders 21-3 over Denver in the third. Minnesota with that 31-0 lead over New Orleans. Greg Townsend intercepted John Elway and ran it back for a touchdown for 85 yards moments ago.
And the New Orleans Saints better get out of that conservative offense.
First and 20. The ball back at the 30. And flags thrown. DeBerg able to complete to Carlos Carson. 20-yard advance. Hasty on the tackle, but let's check out the penalty.
It's going to go against the Jets. They were offside, and I'm not sure if it was
Number 91.
phrase it was offside, but that gives you an idea how strong DeBerg's arm still is, because he fired that ball between 3 defenders to hit Carlos Carson. And again, well, a broken record, but the time he has. You're going to look at it. Well, you see Fraze on the right coming outside, but look at the time that DeBerg has. I mean, there's no one in his face, and look at there are the 3 defenders downfield, 2 linebackers, and Hasty, who's had a tough day.
Ball marked just short of the first down. They're calling it 2nd and 1.
Philly, the team ball last minute.
And here's Hurd breaking tackles and has the first down plus more. 11 on the play. Benson and Gordon make the stop. Well, that seemed to be the case last week when the Jets came from behind, beat Miami 38-34, and we may well be involved in that type ball game right here.
Fraze was offside the last time. Now he misses Herman Hurd. Watch 91, Fraze. He tries to get his arms around Hurd, runs through the tackle, and picks up the first down. Gordon downfield making the tackle. Fraze had him in the backfield.
And a first down at the 40. Okoye to the 35-yard line. Christian Okoye and Herman Hurd have gone most of the way. We did see Paul Palmer on an occasional third down play. James Saxon in the backfield briefly in the first half. Marv Albert with Paul Maguire. 3:15 left. Third quarter. And the Jets have come from behind. They lead Kansas City 27-21. Okoye has run for 63 yards on 12 carries. And Hurd 8 carries for 45 yards. So they lined up in the eye.
Hurd's turn.
Paul, you're just uncanny.
They kind of alternate him a little bit.
Alex Gordon on the stop of Herman Hurd in his 5th season out of Southern Colorado. Spent the first 4 weeks of this 1988 campaign on injured reserve, a separated shoulder, and then did face the Jets in that earlier game, that 17-17 tie at the New Jersey Meadowlands. James Saxon now has checked in the Kansas City backfield, replacing Hurd. It's a 3.5 yard at the Jet 31, and it is Saxon trying to slash his way. It appears he picked it up. James Saxon, 6th round draft pick, a rookie from San Jose State. A pleasant surprise in the preseason, and he has been spotted by the Chiefs.
Their designated third down runner. He looks for Christian Okoye, sees him go in the hole. Why not follow him? He weighs 250. If he can get through, I can get through.
Kansas City first down at the Jet 29-yard line. 1.5 minutes left in this third quarter. Play action. DeBerg going deep for the tight end, and it was deflected. Jonathan Hayes appeared to have his sights on it, but it was tipped away at the last instant by Alex Gordon.
Alex Gordon makes a tremendous play here, because Alex Gordon is beaten. Now look at him, waves his hands, hits the ball, knocks it out. He never quit on the play. Alex Gordon had him one-on-one downfield, and look at that. Just stays with it, gets his arm up, and knocks the ball away. And we have a penalty against the Jets. I think it was on Hasty, number 40, for holding.
And that the call. So they move the chains. James Hasty, beaten twice for touchdowns in the first half, was pulled out. Goes to the sidelines here as DeBerg has a first down at the 24. Hurd with the opening, Hurd trying to rip by McMillan. And McMillan did get the arms around him. Eric McMillan, the rookie from Missouri, stopping the hard-driving Herman Hurd.
That hole was there. Irv Eatman's going to block down. They double team, and they just blow him right off the line of scrimmage. And when Hurd cuts back, there's just nobody there. You'll see the cutback, and when you see Hurd cut back, there are no white shirts to tackle. McMillan saves the touchdown. He was the last guy.
1st and 10 from the 11. Again, Hurd inside the 10. Scott Mercereau, the nose tackle, on the stop.
Tackled by Scott Mercereau.
Clock is running. We are down to a half-minute remaining in this third quarter. Second down play for the Chiefs. The ball is inside the 9-yard line. That is the 30-second clock running down. Second and 7. And Okoye tried to stiff arm his way as time runs out in this third quarter. But the Chiefs on the move. They trail the Jets 27-21. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. This is becoming a novel. Jim Schaaf, the general manager of the KC Chiefs. Apparently, someone in the Kansas City organization reacted to a negative sign concerning Schaaf earlier, and the sign was taken by security. And you just saw the end result. Well, for the Jets, it is a must-win situation here today. 6-6-1 with Indianapolis and New England having won their games earlier. Not too much room in terms of the wild card playoff berth for the Jets. Emil Harry on the reception. Bobby Humphrey with the tackle. And the fans reacting as a timeout has been called by Kansas City. They would like to see the Chiefs go for it. 4th down play coming up. It is 4th and 2. Frank Gans sending in Nick Lowry. What do you think?
I don't understand it. You're trying to go for a tie because you're down by 6? Come on. You're 3-9-1.
With the timeout, let's take a break. Blocked earlier by Marty Lyons. Crowd reacting with boos in the direction of Kansas City head coach Frank Gans, going for the 3 rather than trying for the touchdown. Bill Kenny will hold. So Lowry puts the points on the board, and again you hear the reaction. 21-yard field goal. And the Jets now lead by the score of 27-24 as we get started here in the fourth quarter. We'll be back in a moment.
Football, as far as that goes, where the home team kicks a field goal and they get booed.
Nick Lowry heading for 21 yards out. Crowd here, at least a good portion of the crowd, would have preferred the Chiefs go for it on a 4th down and 2 from the 3-yard line. Here's the kickoff by Lowry. And again kicking to Bobby Humphrey. And Humphrey moving diagonally to his left, picked up a blocker. And Humphrey accelerating. What a move, and he's hauled down. Nice return by Humphrey. He went 33 yards on the return. Sidney Johnson made the stop.
You see John Galvin's block, number 51 for the Jets. I mean, I hope it's in this frame because he just wipes out somebody right about there. I mean, you just see it at the top, just disappeared, and then Humphrey comes all the way across the field, and JoJo Townsend gets in front of someone. He's getting help from the backup guy, the guy that's back there with you.
And a first down at the 35-yard line. Wesley Walker now split wide, right side. Altoon to the left. Raymond McNeil. Stopped by Lloyd Burris. Strong safety, Lloyd Burris. Well, it has been a very rough week for the Kansas City Chiefs, taking a lot of heat off the Pittsburgh loss. Several of their players quoted Albert Lewis saying there are so many unhappy people, players, coaches, fans. It's hard for me to come and sometimes even see the secretaries in the Kansas City office. I know you reacted in the same manner when you were a player. You really had a lot of emotion for the secretaries when things weren't going well. Johnny Hector has the first down. Jack Del Rio, who's had an outstanding game, with the stop on Hector.
Well, I played in the American Football League, and they were a very poor franchise. We didn't have secretaries in those days. So it was very difficult to go in and see them when they weren't there.
Paul bringing his own laugh track with him also.
I didn't do that.
Jets by 3, 27-24. First down at the 47. McNeil 10 carries, 50 yards. Hector 11 carries, 59 yards, and a touchdown. Schuler in motion. And McNeil to the outside. Able to turn it. Getting to the 45. Burris, the strong safety, on the stop. Lloyd Burris making it back from arthroscopic knee surgery. Last week was his first start in some 6 games.
This is a tremendous run by Freeman McNeil. He gets some excellent blocking right at the line of scrimmage. And then just Wesley Walker, who we haven't even called his name, he was out there on Ross, number 31, got a piece of him, and just enabled Freeman to get enough time to get around the corner to pick up an extra 2 yards.
Second down and 1 as McNeil picked up 9. And again, the acceleration for the first down for Hector. Hector and McNeil running so well throughout the day. D. Hardison on the stop.
What's going to make that decision to kick the field goal even worse is if the New York Jets drive down the field and score a touchdown. Now that's going to be a 10-point lead, and there really is going to be some heat put on the Kansas City Chiefs front office, coaching staff. Just didn't understand the decision because they had a chance to even pick up a first down there along with it. It wasn't just 3rd or 4th and goal. It was 4th and 2 on the 3.
Jets first down at the Kansas City 39. Here's McNeil. And he continues his excellent running. Another first down for Freeman. This time 15 yards on the play.
Well, we have some missed tackles again. Leonard Griffin missed a tackle in the backfield. You'll see him come up, number 98. There's the first missed tackle. There's Burroughs there. He can't get a piece of it. Jack Del Rio, he can't get a piece of it.
And Joe Walton continues to shuffle his backs. Jet running backs these days have been bringing in plays. Johnny Hector has come on. He's the lone deep back. First down at the Kansas City 24. Briggs 81 in motion. And here's Hector. Good block from Dan Alexander. Aaron Peterson, the inside linebacker. Number 96 made the stop. It'll be a 2nd and 6. The Jets down at the Kansas City 21-yard line.
You know, Pearson made that tackle. It may be the first or second time this game that you have mentioned his name. The only other 2 linebackers that we even called been Jack Del Rio and Cofield, and mostly Cofield was when he was on coverage to the outside. We're just not getting any penetration by the defensive line, and credit that also to the Jets' offensive line.
And the Chiefs hit with a major blow when linebacker Dino Hackett suffered an injury. He's out for the year. Ryan directing traffic, and then with a sideline pass that is dropped. Al Toon could not hold it.
I mean, if there was a play that typifies what's been going on all day long, and again, let's give credit where credit is due, and that's to the offensive line. But watch what Ryan does. All right, now I got time. You get over here. Now you move over here. Al, come on back here to me. Toon, let me throw it to you. Just kneel down, but catch the ball when I throw it to you. I mean, this has been going on all day long with both quarterbacks.
Nice to be able to orchestrate the action.
Yeah, if you could put that to music, you'd really have a nice replay.
It is a 3rd and 6. Outside the 20-yard line with 10 minutes remaining, 4th quarter. The Jets 27, Chiefs 24. Toon in motion. for Schuler. Completes it for the first down. 11-yard pass play. Lloyd Boris covering Mickey Schuler.
Do you know on that last play that the Kansas City Chiefs only have 2 defensive linemen on the field? One of them is Bell. The other one is Leonard Griffin. And that's all they had on the field. The rest were linebackers and defensive backs, and they still completed the pass.
5 catches, 73 yards for Mickey Schuler in his 11th season out of Penn State. And the Jets have a 1st and goal just inside the 10. And Ryan, a good drive going. Back to the ground.
Face mask.
And Freeman McNeil is put down, and he's upset. Rather, Johnny Hector upset. Lloyd Boris on the tackle, and the penalty's called.
Lloyd Burroughs has been in on about the last 6 out of 7 tackles. Getting a little tired.
Number 34, first down.
So the face mask on Burris.
All right, Hector's trying to get to the outside because the inside was sealed, and you just see when his head snaps like that and turns. And, you know, that to me is a 15-yarder. Not only did he grab on, held on, but turned his body completely around. Now, that's not just incidental contact, Marv. That was deliberate.
And now the Jets 1st and goal inside the 5-yard line. Play action, and it's Ryan with the bootleg. And he is just short of the goal line. Pat Ryan galloping right outside the goal line. That's the one dimension that Ryan adds when he's in there rather than Ken O'Brien. He does have the mobility while O'Brien does not.
Ryan must have loved that. He sees everybody else running wherever they want to run, and so, okay, now it's my turn. Let's do a little fake, a little bootleg back to the outside. You got the linebacker, Cofield, number 54, committed, but he didn't fake out Deron Cherry on the other side.
10th play of the drive from just outside the goal line, and let's see. Are the Jets in? Yes, they are. Johnny Hector driving home for the touchdown.
Mickey Schuler is down in the end zone.
So Johnny Hector with the score, and the Jets now lead it 33-24.
Here's Mickey Schuler. Let's take a look at it now. Vick is in front of him, and Hector is just trying to follow through. They got some excellent penetration that time by Don Thorpe, number 71 of the Kansas City Chiefs, but there was no other help. And Hector just dives up in the air. Now, when he comes down, he's not on the ground yet. Keeps his balance and then dives into the end zone. Continuous effort.
And Mickey Schuler shaken up. And trainer Bob Reese out to check it. Johnny Hector with his 2nd touchdown of the day. He has 9 for the season. And with 8:12 left, 4th quarter, the Jets by 9. Johnny Hector, who just scored the touchdown, his 2nd of the day. And now Pat Leahy will try to tag on the extra point with 8:12 remaining in this 4th quarter. So now the Jets with a 10-point lead on the Kansas City Chiefs. So they have come from behind as they did a week ago against the Miami Dolphins. Jets 34, Kansas City 24.
And by Murata Fax Machines, built for the most important business in the world, yours.
And off the kickoff, the return by Gamble for 27 yards. Tom Baldwin on the stop, and Baldwin is shaken up. We're told Mickey Schuler suffered a pinched nerve in his neck, but it is expected that he will return. First down for Kansas City at the 30-yard line. We have 8 minutes, 2 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter, and the Jets now leading Kansas City 34-24.
And Baldwin's down right at the Kansas City bench.
So Tom Baldwin shaken up. It was revealed this past week that Tom Baldwin has made it back from an alcohol abuse problem. Last February, checked himself into a rehabilitation center for 1 month. And Baldwin was elected by teammates as winner of the Ed Block Award, which is given annually to each club's most courageous player for overcoming an alcohol abuse from Ed Block, a one-time trainer for the Baltimore Colts. And the award sponsored by the NFL Trainers Association. In fact, Jerry Fury, Steve DeBerg has thrown for 3 touchdowns, but very quiet in the second half, and he's down by 10 points. Paul Palmer now in the backfield along with Christian Okoye. That's Palmer in motion. And DeBerg completes to Page at midfield for 21 yards. Eric McMillan on the hit.
DeBerg is standing back there just waiting for Page to clear. Page comes all the way from the other side of the field back to this side of the field to make the play. DeBerg is back there. He's got Christian Okoye blocking. No one's even close. He's waiting for Page to come across. He comes across the field, and the field is 53 yards wide. He picked up about 51 of it and made the catch.
4th catch of the day for Page, who also has caught 2 touchdowns. DeBerg again on the completion. Palmer taking the pop from Troy Benson. Well, earlier today, victories by Indianapolis and New England, which means that a loss by the Jets here today would eliminate them from the wild card playoff possibility. Tonight, Pittsburgh plays at Houston, and this is the race of interest in terms of wild card, with Cleveland coming away with a victory. Houston going into tonight's play with a record of 9-4. 2nd down and 6, and DeBerg going deep for Palmer. He's got him. 31-yard pass play, and the Chiefs will have a 1st and goal inside the 10.
I got to believe there's busted coverage, because there's been no pressure on the quarterbacks all day long. And how, in God's name, can Clifton expect to stay a linebacker with a running back, Paul Palmer? I mean, it can't be done. He's not going to be there, especially with the time that DeBerg has to throw the ball.
1st and goal from inside the 10. Started out as a draw, and then Okoye to the outside. And so the Chiefs roaring right back into it with 6.5 to go. In the 4th quarter, they are down by 10, but are threatening. 2nd and goal inside the 5.
Now, Fraze gets great penetration right here and forces Okoye to cut it back to the other side. Clifton's there to help out on the tackle.
Here's Palmer to the 3-yard line. Paul Palmer, Kansas City's #1 draft pick last season out of Temple. He has had an excellent year. Kansas City's leading rusher. Excellent year up until the last couple of weeks. Suffered the toe injury and then suspended. Jonathan Hayes, the tight end, is down and hurt.
How ironic can it be? You know, this may be a situation, because they cannot get a 1st down here. They have to get a touchdown, where you might want to kick a field goal now, because you've got to get one somewhere along the line. You're down by 10 points. But they put themselves in this position by not going for the touchdown the last time they were down here.
And that situation, a 4th and 2 from the 3-yard line. And Kansas City with the march downfield, and then Frank Gans decided to go for the field goal, and Lowry did put it through.
Frank Gans is telling Berg, please score on this play so I don't have to make another decision. I mean, there's only so many boos I can take in a 3-hour period of time.
This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or the use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Kansas City Chiefs and the National Football League is prohibited. This game is the property of the NFL. All rights reserved. We're told that Tom Baldwin injured his elbow just moments ago. As you see Jonathan Hayes being helped off, 4-year pro out of Iowa, start of the season. as the number 1 tight end, lost the job to Alfredo Roberts, but has reclaimed the job in recent weeks.
You know, here's the situation down here. Two things you can consider. They've been able to run the ball, both teams, up the middle. But you're down here, and you're looking at it from the quarterback perspective, and the coaches up in the booth saying, you know, they're not even getting close to our quarterback. He has all day. Maybe we can just sit back there and wait until somebody becomes open. I wouldn't be surprised to see him run, and right up the middle, because there is absolutely no one in the middle of the field. Now they move Miano in the middle.
Saxon and Hurd in the backfield, 3rd and goal. Again, the timing pattern, but Page could not get to it, and a flag is thrown. John Booty in the coverage, and with the bump.
Pass interference, number 42 in the end zone. First down on the 1-yard line.
Oh, the interference, putting the ball down at the 1.
To the right of your screen, Booty is out there with Page. Now, when he gets his arm out, the ball is now in the air. And both people have a right to the ball. I don't believe that that is pass interference, to be very honest with you, Marv. That the pass interference would have been called. It could have been holding. That's at the beginning of the play, but it wasn't. It was pass interference at the end.
However, a 1st and goal at the 1. That is Saxon in motion. Okoye is in for the touchdown.
This crowd is electrified. All 2,700 of them.
5:22 left in the 4th quarter, and the Chiefs now move within 4.
Put Saxon in motion, hand the ball to Okoye, over 250 pounds. Touchdown.
Lowry to attempt the extra point. Military holding.
Now the extra point attempt by Lowry is 20 for 20 on the season. Looking to cut it down to 3. And he does. The Jets 34. The Chiefs 31. We'll be back with the Kansas City kickoff in a moment. Tonight on the magical world of Disney, it's the animated classic Mickey's Christmas Carol, then a special 3-part Family Ties, followed by Day and NBC Sunday Night Movie in the Heat of the Night, starring Carol O'Connor. That's all tonight right here on NBC. The kickoff by Nick Lowry. Line drives it for Bobby Humphrey. Humphrey across the 20. He has had a terrific day. Bobby Humphrey on the return. 33-yard return. 5:11 remaining, 4th quarter. The Jets looking to stay alive in the wild card playoff chase, although they do have a slim chance, even with the victory here today. They would have to win their final 3. Next week they have the Colts, and they finish with the Giants. But looking to remain alive with a victory here, they're clinging now to a 3-point lead. 34-31 the score as they start out from their 33-yard line. Question here, can the Kansas City defense stop the Jets with under 5 minutes to go in this 4th quarter?
You know, there is just under 5 minutes to go, and don't be afraid to sit back and throw the ball, because the heat has not been on. 1 sack in this ball game, and there was a busted play by a lineman, and Angelo Snipes, number 52 of the Kansas City Chiefs, makes the sack. But other than that, Ryan has been back there, in fact, directing traffic. So don't be afraid to go up and throw the ball.
As a 2nd and 8, difference in the game, that blocked field goal. Marty Lyons blocking the Nick Lowry attempt. And again, the Chiefs come up strong. Johnny Hector stopped. Number 96, the inside linebacker, Eric Pearson. Denver coming on, 21-20 now, the Raiders on top. And Minnesota having a very fine time with New Orleans, 45-3. A third down and 8. Ball on the 35. 3:45 left. Fourth quarter. That is Walker in motion. And Ryan with a penalty marker down, able to complete to Hector. Took the hard hit from Kevin Ross, but a flag on the play.
You have two people in motion. You have Wesley Walker in motion, and then all of a sudden Johnny Hector leaves early, even though he's going along the line of the scrimmage.
Number 61.
Left tackle Jeff Criswell's number was called.
But you still have 2 men in motion, which you can't do. And Criswell moved out early.
61 declined. Fourth down.
So the Kansas City defensive unit coming up big. And the Jets go into punt formation. Joe Prokop for only his third punt of the day. He's back at his 25. And Kitrick Taylor, the first-year player from Washington State, waits for the punt at the Kansas City 16. Clock is running. Coming up on 3 minutes to go. Fourth quarter. Big rush. And it's a pop fly from Prokop. Here is Taylor. A 28-yard punt. And Kansas City takes over with 2 minutes and 57 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Let's review what has taken place over the day. The Patriots staying alive with their victory. The Redskins able to come from behind on that field goal with only 1 second left to knock off the Eagles. Dickerson finally breaking out 169 yards as Miami was eliminated. And Ickey Woods did it again. 15 rushing touchdowns. 2 more today as the Bengals go to 11-3. Ickey Woods setting the Cincinnati rookie touchdown record. First down at the 32. DeBerg is 14 for 18, 244 yards.
And Jonathan Hayes is back in the ball game.
Oh, what a catch by Stephon Page, and then it was jarred free. It's being ruled incomplete. What an effort. Well, he took a shot.
Is that Carl Howard that hit him, 28? He was there, I know. Here comes the ball is, looks like it's in his hand. And no, Radikowski was a guy that hits him at the end of this play. Stephon Page, it looks like he had control of the ball when he came down.
Second and 10, 2 minutes, 50 seconds remaining in this fourth quarter. Jets lead by 3. Ball deflected, incomplete.
The Jets are trying to do it, Marv, with a 3-man rush and trying to cover with 8 people back. You know what that win of Cincinnati's today and the loss of Buffalo, we'll get to it in just a second. Here's the block right in the middle, and that was Gordon, or it looked like it hit Gordon in the helmet. But with that loss of Buffalo and a win of Cincinnati beating Buffalo a week ago would give them the total home field advantage if they can maintain that all the way through.
Both Buffalo and Cincinnati now 11 up, 3 down. Third and 10 from the 32. And DeBerg overthrows. Emil Harry in the area, but again a flag tossed. And the Jets are upset. Carl Howard particularly upset.
They can't call this pass interference. If they're going to call anything, it's got to be holding. Yeah.
Number 28, 5 yards, first down.
You have to call it holding because the ball was not catchable.
A critical penalty picked up by Carl Howard, the 5-year veteran from Rutgers. It gives Kansas City a first down.
Carl Howard, number 28. Now, here's the play. When you cut back to the inside, there is the holding. That's what the flag was thrown on. That was Emil Harry, number 86, coming across. The ball was not catchable, but he did grab him.
Jets among the most penalized teams in the NFL. They're number 5 last year, and the year before they were number 1. First down at the 37 with 2:40 remaining, fourth quarter. And the handoff to Saxon. Running well with the spin, has the first down. He reeled off 12 on the play, stopped by Kyle Clifton.
Both of these defenses have spent a lot of time on the field. You know, they're getting a little tired, especially when you're going with a three-man rush. The Jets want a timeout.
When we resume, Kansas City first down at their 49-yard line. The Jets lead 34-31 with 2 minutes and 17 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. So the timeout, family ties day by day, and a good Sunday night movie in the heat of the night. It's coming up following the Jets and Kansas City. First down from midfield. And DeBerg trying to locate Emil Harry, covered by
Quarterback by Alex Gordon. Second and 10.
a couple of Jets. A big rush by Nichols as we check the scoreboard. Victories by New England, Giants, Washington. So the early games. Cincinnati going to 11-3. Cleveland with the win. Tampa Bay knocking off Buffalo. San Francisco with victory over Atlanta. Indianapolis over Miami. Detroit knocking off Green Bay. Second down and 10. And it's broken up. Bobby Humphrey covering Emil Harry, who suddenly is a popular target.
Bobby Humphrey could not have played that play any better. The play before this, here it is. We see Humphrey right there, and Emil Harry. The ball is thrown just a little bit behind, but Humphrey was there. I don't know if Emil Harry would have caught it anyway. But the play before, when DeBerg went back to pass, he threw the ball away. Alex Gordon got in. And I saw DeBerg look at the offensive lineman and point to him. He said, you know, this guy got close to me. And for the first time all night long.
Last week, Emil Harry filled in for the injured Carlos Carson. Came up with a couple of big catches. 2:09 remaining now, fourth quarter, and look out. Flags thrown. DeBerg sensing he might have a free play, and complete again. Looking downfield for Emil Harry, who's covered by Carl Howard. Harry is a second-year man from Stanford.
Number 55.
This will drive you crazy, Marv. You got him to third down in a 10 situation, and all of a sudden you get over anxious, and there you see right there Alex Gordon on the right-hand side of the screen. He's offside, and now you give him not only a free down because that ball wasn't catchable. You got a free down, and it's 3rd and 5.
And DeBerg continues to look for the wide receiver Emil Harry, who, Paul, you'd be interested to know, recently finished writing a novel entitled Within. Sounds like something you could really get your teeth into. As DeBerg goes sideline and completes, has the first down and more with Carlos Carson. Out of the 30, picked up 16. Miano on the stop with 1:54 remaining.
Marv, again, with all the time in the world, Carlos Carson goes down about 25 yards, and then he comes back 15 yards. There's just no chance for Bobby Humphrey to stay with him.
Timeout taken, an official timeout. We'll be back here in Kansas City in a moment. And John Hewitt and his club with a first down at the 30. And here comes Herman Hurd. And run out of bounds. Ball spotted at the 28-yard line. You see the time, 1:49 left, fourth quarter. The Jets are clinging to a 3-point lead, 34-31.
And this play here, Marty Lyons comes right up the middle, but this play here is just to keep the defense honest. Rich Miano, number 36, is going to come up and force him out of bounds. The play picked up about 2 yards, but that now keeps the defense honest. They've got to think about run along with pass.
Second down and 8. And DeBerg with the completion. Carlos Carson diving for the first down marker. 8-yard advance.
You didn't get it. What Carlos Carson wanted to do, Marv, is try to get out of bounds, but it was just too far to go. So then he realized he didn't have the first down. He cut it back up into the inside and didn't make it.
Just shy of the first down. They're in the hurry up and now have the first down. Herman Hurd picking it up. A loss for the Jets would eliminate them from wild card playoff contention. They come in at 6-1, facing the 3-9-1 Kansas City Chiefs. We're down to 1 minute remaining, fourth quarter, and here's DeBurr going sideline, incomplete. Second down play upcoming. Page, the intended receiver.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see him go back to Page. That time, DeBurr looked at Page too late. Page was already open. He was downfield about 8 or 9 yards, waiting on the play. The Jets are going to give him the cushion. They won't mind giving up the field goal to go into overtime in this game, because if they win the toss, the team with the ball last is going to win the ball game. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him call that play again and come right back to Page. Now they've got him up on the top side, and he's going to be covered outside one-on-one by Booty, with a little help from the safety, but the shortstop will be there.
Second and 10 from the 18, and DeBurr going end zone. It is broken up with a penalty marker down. Bobby Humphrey on the coverage of Emil Harry, and it will be another interference call on the Jets.
Well, I know they have a lot of calls for it, but there is still face guarding in there.
Pass interference. Number 48 in the end zone. The ball is on the 1-yard line. First down.
Now Bobby Humphrey is there. He's got his hand in his face. Bumps Emil Harry at the time. This is an excellent call. Never even went for the ball. Didn't have any call. Didn't have any help out there. He's sitting there all by himself.
In effect, Paul, a 17-yard penalty. 50 seconds remaining. Kansas City trailing by 3, looking to go in front. And the handoff to Okoye. And he is short of the goal line. Saxon went into motion. And Okoye, the ball carrier. Clock is running. And now the clock has been stopped. Timeout taken. 38 seconds left. Nick Lowry thinking about the possibilities.
Now, in this situation, Kansas City Chiefs took a timeout with 38 seconds to go. They have 1 left. If they stop the Kansas City Chiefs here on second down, the Jets should call a timeout to save some of that clock in case they score a touchdown on third down.
It's Saxon. Chiefs feel they have it. The officials checking it out. And he did not cross the goal line. So a third down play coming up. And the clock is running. They're down to 20 seconds remaining. Jets lead by 3. And it's DeBurr, and he is stopped. The clock is running. They have 1 timeout left, and they take it. 5 seconds remaining. Paul, you go for the tie.
The players on the field want to go for the win. They really do, and they deserve to win. They're 3-9-1. Want to go in overtime? I got to believe the players are going to talk him into going for it and go for the touchdown and win the game.
Well, Nick Lowry is 1 for 2 on the day. Had 1 block, and then he did hit from 21 yards away. They are going for the victory.
Nice call. I like that. All right, Frank Gantz.
5 seconds left.
He still look how neat he still looks. You know, he's a military man, though. He looks neat.
It is a 4th and goal from a half-yard away for the Jets. Their playoff hopes ride on this. Saxon is in. 2 seconds remaining. Kansas City has taken the lead.
You've got to give an awful lot of credit to Saxon on this play. because of the leg drag, the continuous effort of Saxon. He never stopped moving his legs. He kept driving. He got in there behind Christian Okoye and ended up with a touchdown. He was actually stopped. Watch this play. Right to left here. There's Clifton going over the top. Right there he stopped. But watch his legs. They never stop driving. He takes that ball in the end zone on his own.
James Saxon, a 6th-round draft pick, a rookie from San Jose State. And here is Lowry giving the Chiefs a 38-34 lead. 14 plays, 68 yards. The Chiefs went for the victory, and it paid off with 2 seconds remaining.
I almost wore out that pony they have down there. That thing's going crazy. Brad Gans is happy. The crowd's happy. They'll forget about the one that he went for the field goal now and not for the touchdown. Of course, had he done that, the game would have been over a long time ago.
For Steve DeBerg, an outstanding game as the Kansas City Chiefs have taken a 38-34 lead, and DeBerg is our most valuable player. The MVP award sponsored by Budweiser. Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all the MVPs selected in today's games. Across the NFL, DeBerg 16 for 25, 267 yards, 3 touchdowns. Good game for Christian Okoye, 69 yards, 16 carries. Saxon with that 23-yard day, but the half yard of most significance. When a moment ago he went in for the score. Pat Ryan, 13 for 25, 76 yards on the ground for McNeil. Hector with 69, 2 and 5 catches, 102 yards. Again, Wesley Walker did not show up, did not catch a pass. Not necessarily his fault. You have to be throwing in his direction.
Did they throw to him at all? I don't remember them really throwing the ball to Wesley Walker.
And this after Walker had gotten into it the last couple of weeks. Townsell and Sohn are the deep man, but Lowry will try to bounce it. As time runs down, here is the return. Final seconds, and that is it as K.D. Dunn, a backup tight end on a reverse. This looks like something we saw in the college ranks several years ago with the Stanford band taking the worst of it. The play is still alive. Do you believe this? Going nowhere. Booty throwing it back the other way. We'll see this play on every highlight show in America. This is Fa'aola with it now. Back it goes again. And now here's the another lateral. Unbelievable. Play is still alive. And here's Schuler. And he goes behind the back, and it's over. Although this man is not smiling, the game ends on a comical note. The Chiefs over the Jets, 38-34, and the Jets now eliminated from wild card contention. We'll be back here at Arrowhead right after these words.